Good morning. This morning I get to talk a little bit about our winter service project. For the past few years, our school has been doing a school-wide service project where we collect items and money and then give back to our own South families who might be struggling and having a little bit of a harder time financially this year. The way that it's going to work this year is that it's going to be kind of a advisory class competition. So your class can decide whether they want to focus on one area or let students bring in and adults bring in anything in any of the three areas. Areas to focus on are non-perishable food items, personal care items, or cold hard cash. So I said non-perishable food items. What I mean by non-perishable food items are items that aren't fresh. So not fresh vegetables, not fresh fruit, not milk, not something that over a 2-week time period is going to go bad. So something like canned peas, pasta, soups, beans, macaroni and cheese, flour, any kind of things to bake with, soups, canned vegetables, canned beans. When bringing in these items, though, there's something that we want you to pay close attention to. We can find this in our own cupboards as well at home. When you're going to bring an item in, please make sure that you check the expiration date. And on most food items, it's either going to be right on the bottom or it'll be on the label. On this can of mushroom soup, looks like a fine can of mushroom soup. I want to just pop it open and heat it up. However, it expired on May 5th, 2011. I do not want to give this can of soup to anyone. We're going to put this can of soup into the trash. It expired 3 years ago. This can of green beans doesn't expire until December of 2016. So this can of green beans would be a perfect item to donate for the Winter Service Project. When I talked about personal care items, what I mean is items that you'd bring in, new items that you'd bring in to keep yourself clean. So soap, deodorant, lotion, Q-tips, toothpaste, toothbrushes, mouthwash, body wash, all kinds of things like that would be considered a personal care item. And obviously when I talk about money, we all know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about cash. I'm talking about bringing in whatever kind of money you can collect at home from your families that they're okay with you bringing in, or from other people who are willing to give to this project as well. Every little bit counts. So even if you're bringing in some change every day, that counts. If you decide not to buy a slushie or not to buy an ice cream that day so that you can give your money to the project, that's very kind of you.
For every 3 items that you turn in, you can get a front-of-the-line pass.
When your whole class collects enough items to win first place in each category, you can win pizza.
One. Pizza party!
Hi, last year my advisement class was one of the winning classes for the Winter Service Project. To motivate my students to contribute to the Winter Service Project, we talked about how wonderfully fulfilling it is to give back to those students or families that are in need. And we talked about how many of us have a lot of enough food, enough toys, enough clothes and shelter, and then others do not. And that gave them a little bit of a boost to want to bring in items. We also talked about how every little bit counts, and I reminded them even small change adds up, and that seemed to really motivate them to dig in their pockets or bring in money. Some would give $3, some gave 25 cents, and that surprised the kids because it added up to a really large amount. And those are the 2 main things that we did to focus on contributing and giving back for the service project.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Serrano, and last year for the Winter Service Project, our class won first place on collecting the most food can. The way that we won first place was because of a student. It took only one student to motivate the whole class. He started bringing in a lot of cans. Over the Thanksgiving break, he went to different family members' houses and started collecting cans from them. So his entire family participated in the canned food drive. When he returned from Thanksgiving break, he had this huge box, and that got a lot of my other students to bring in more cans, and I think that was why we ended up winning last year, because it just took one student to motivate my entire class. So this year the competition is going to take place before Thanksgiving break and after Thanksgiving break. So that I suggest that you take is start collecting the cans during the Thanksgiving break. Go to your families and ask them for any food cans that they would like to donate.
For the Winter Service Project, my class, along with Mrs. Allen, won for 2 years in a row. We won for the category of money, and here are some tips on how to win. First of all, we would promote front-of-the-line passes. So if students brought 3 items, we would give them a front-of-the-line pass. We had competition within the class where students were competing against each other for homework passes, gift cards, prizes, raffle tickets. We would pass the envelope around every day to collect the money. It would help to choose a category for your class to either get caregiving items, food, or money, and focus on that and decide as a class which one you want to do. We would model giving as teachers, so we would be sure to bring in items ourselves so that we were modeling it to the students, and also bring money in, and actually we matched the money that our students would bring in. So if they brought in $5, we would put in $5. We pumped it up every day. We talked about it. We would write it on the board and post the list of things to bring in, and then we set a goal as a class. So to reach a certain amount of money or items helps too.
Hey, so the great news is that this winter service project begins very soon. We will start collecting items on Monday, November 17th, and then the last day to bring items in will be Friday, December 5th. So we've got the week before we go on our Thanksgiving break, and we have the week after we come back from Thanksgiving break to bring in as much as we can bring in to help support our own South families who need a little bit of extra cheer this holiday season.
One tip to make sure that you remember to bring your canned goods or money or personal care items is write it down in your planner. That way when you're doing your homework at home, you can remember to put something in your backpack so that you have it the next day at school to turn into your advisory class.
1.
Thank you!